or lease rules in the morning.
Welcome back to another episode of B-Movie Bros. Today we talk about another hypothetical movie. What if situation with Jaws and Titanic? I'm Phantom Dark Dave.
I'm B-Movie Paul.
And I'm B-Movie Corey. So welcome, friends. So the Titanic and Jaws. So first off, we really have to establish where in the Jaws timeline this occurs because, you know, there are 5 official Jaws movies. Now, we did a hypothetical movie
There were
that
19.
that was Jaws 19 because, you know, of course, that came out in the year 2015 when Marty McFly had traveled to the future. So is this a movie between Jaws 5 and Jaws 19, or is this a new Jaws movie?
Funny, every time I think about Jaws, I only think about the first one.
Yeah, I think officially it goes up to 5. So I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say this is after Jaws 19.
Jaws 62
so we're going to say
and a half.
this is Jaws 22, and we're going to go by like the Sharknado standard here and give it a terrible title. So this is going to be Jaws the sequel. Because you know, as we all know, the Titanic sinks in the end,
Spoiler
and this
alert.
is a sequel / prequel / not equal. So we'll call it Jaws the sequel.
Something you can sink your teeth into.
Oh, beautiful. So like how is this a precursor to Jaws? Like, is this Jaws' granddaddy?
I want to say it's like Jaws from the dystopian future who travels back. He's half like Machine. He's got like a built-in laser beam, and he just somehow opens a portal in time and ends up when the Titanic was going on. That sounds about right, right?
So Jaws is traveling back in time
With his laser beam.
to the Titanic
Yep,
in 1912.
yep. He's from the year
What a shock.
3062.
So, okay, so how does Jaws fit into this? How does he affect the Titanic?
It's so funny, man, because it's similar waters really with the first Jaws movie being in the kind of New England town area, and then the Titanic's supposed to be kind of ending over in the New York area. You're still dealing with that northeast region, so it's possible that Jaws could approach the Titanic, and it just makes me think some of the lines from Titanic, from Jaws. It's like, we're gonna need a bigger boat. It's like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna do it. I'm thinking about the Titanic size there.
Like, yeah, you've got a pretty big boat to begin with. I think that's the least of your problems.
So I mean, we've got a giant boat, but we're talking about Mecha Jaws from the future. So what, aside from his laser beam eyeball, what other artillery does Jaws have at his disposal, do you think?
I mean, I'd like to think that. Well, I remember with Jaws 19, we were arguing if this shark was super intelligent or not. So maybe he's trying to fit in, and like he's got wooden teeth to make himself seem like he's from like a different time period, and he's just trying to sneak around.
He was aiming for the Revolutionary period instead of the early 20th century.
Yeah, he's trying to make it seem like he's not. He's not like super advanced.
Was
he's,
he
like,
a Hessian sympathizer? Was he trying to stop George Washington from crossing the Delaware on Christmas? Is that why he had the wooden teeth?
He undershot going back in time and ended up in 1912.
It's not a terrible time.
So I mean,
could be worse.
I'm gonna say that I think because he is a biomechanical being, that Jaws has some kind of magnetic powers. And because Jaws, got a taste for human blood back in 1973, or whenever that movie came out, he has, since then passed that through his bloodline all the way to, Jaws 22, the sequel here. And using his magnetic power, he grips the Titanic and ran. And it's not that the Titanic couldn't get out of the way of the iceberg, but Jaws actually drug it into the iceberg, because as powerful as Jaws was, he could not, take down the Titanic.
So you got the iceberg to help him out,
Yes, it seems like Jaws. He plans out his kills. He's got it all figured out. Being all the other movies, all the other experiences from the other ones.
Well, and also, I mean, if this is a super intelligent mecha Jaws from the future, I mean, obviously he's seen the movie Titanic, so he's gonna know how this pans out. So the question is, does he have certain people he's looking for to eat? Like,
maybe he just wants to get his picture drawn.
He just draw me like one of your French sharks.
Maybe so. You don't know. Oh gosh. Leonardo, you'll get an award in the future, I promise.
20 years later.
All I can think is a scene where it's like, don't let go, Jack, and then she gets eaten by the shark.
Oh, man.
With, like, them still holding their arm.
So wait, are we saying that Mecha Jaws from the future is actually parading around as a human in disguise on the ship?
I guess so.
Like, is that the direction we're going here?
Well, maybe he has like an underwater lab where he's like concocting his plan.
I think I've seen this episode on Powerpuff Girls. Just saying.
This went in a position, like a direction I was completely not even expecting.
Well, what were you thinking was going on here, Paul?
I don't know. Like, I miss when the shark was an attorney trying to make his way in a human-dominated world. Like, Jaws 19 was a great film.
I thought that was Jaws 13.
That was Jaws, well, somewhere between like 5 and 19.
So how big is this Jaws that we're talking about now?
Well, I mean,
how big does Jaws have to be to take down the Titanic?
Is this human in disguise Jaws? Is this?
If he is, he's going to be like a Michael Clark Duncan sized Jaws.
Or is this like a magnetic, drive you into the iceberg Jaws? Like,
no, I think if he's
maybe Jaws is just a robot. Somebody's controlling it.
Robo Jaws, Mecha Jaws.
Yeah, why not? It's Rose's pissed off husband. He knows what's going on. He's going to take everybody down with him.
Maybe he was Jaws the whole time. Like,
that's right. They didn't unmask him. That's their fault.
Scooby and the gang gets together and takes off Jaws' head. Oh, it was Ben Affleck the entire time.
Damn Ben Affleck.
Now all I can think of is like an actual shark walking on the Titanic with like a fake mustache and like fake glasses. Like, yes, this is a nice little boat ride. Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, he goes, "No respect. I get no respect. I tell you, fucking Jabberjaw." So what's next? Josie and the Pussycats? What other teen sleuth animal themed show can we talk about here?
Scooby-Doo and Jabberjaw. Enough of that. Like,
I remember there was a show. It was the CCC. They were the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh my!
I'm like completely serious. There was a show that was about like these children detectives. And, they're bumbling, and I'm pretty sure he was Asian. This bumbling Asian adult was always with them, and they were the Ku Klux Klan. And it was bad. I mean, it was a children's program. I believe it was Hanna-Barbera, actually.
I was going to say, somebody knew what was going on when they did that. They passed it anyway.
I mean,
they're like, well, Yogi Bear, no one's watching that anymore. Bring in the CCC.
We need to make things more edgy.
We gotta capture the right viewers here. Oh man, I don't know. Yogi Bear was. I tried to show Yogi Bear to my son the other day. He got pretty bored of it. I guess cartoons really aren't what they used to be. When you like, look at this classic I used to watch. But the good thing about Jaws, Jaws still holds up though. You show somebody Jaws for the first time, which why is it the first time you've seen it? But that movie's still awesome.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, and I honestly, I have never watched Jaws from start to finish, but I know from the amount of times that Jaws has been on the Sci-Fi Channel that I have seen every second of Jaws about 37 times.
What do you guys think is the worst Jaws sequel?
I've never sat down and watched a Jaws movie in my life. Like,
I've never seen any of the sequels. I forgot there actually were sequels to Jaws.
Yeah, like I said, there's I think it goes up to 5, and 5 is Jaws: The Revenge.
Well, I don't want to throw you out, man. I feel like there's 4. The first one, the second one, third one, fourth one. I've seen all 4 of them more than once, but I know the fourth one was The Revenge because the third one was stupidest thing ever. It was when they were at the theme park in Florida, and they did this whole Lou Gossett Jr.'s in the movie, and they got a 3D shark coming in. It was terrible. And 2 brings back Sheriff Brody and his wife and 2 sons, and some reason they're back in the water and dealing with everything again, like you didn't learn from the first fucking time. But man, it's kind of sacrilegious to say. I enjoy Jaws a lot, but there's something about the second one that sticks with me, and I think it's just how the end climax is and how they kill the shark. I liked more than all the other ones.
I'm gonna have to say both of us are right. I just looked it up. You are correct. Jaws 4 is the revenge, but there is a Jaws 5, and it is called Cruel Jaws. Jaws 5, Cruel
Stupidest
Jaws.
name ever.
I mean, I thought Jaws 22, the sequel, was bad. Cruel Jaws? Come on now.
You actually improved on that a little bit.
Not even
Now
trying anymore.
Now I feel bad about my title,
Jaws 6, the cash grab.
like Jaws 7, Made in America.
Oh man, it's got Ted Danson in it though, so that's good.
Jaws 8, Surgery Gone Wrong. Jaws 9,
The Phantom Menace.
The Real Wives of the Barrier Reef.
Oh jeez.
I mean, we could just go on and on here.
Jaws 10, The Force
Maybe
Awakens.
it's not even Jaws. Maybe it's Saw, Part J.
Part J.
Like, where are we going with this?
They're apparently making another Saw movie I saw recently.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. I know it's crazy because the thing's gone on forever, but I'm kind of a guy that if I'll start a franchise, I'll finish it, even no matter how terrible it is. And even though a lot of people hate Saw and they want it to stop, I stick with it because I being a writer, I really am intrigued by how they keep the story going. And it's one of those things where there's 7 of them out there, 8's coming this year. But like if you try to watch all of them and you skip just one of them, you don't know what the hell's going on. Like it's that important to the storyline.
Yeah, speaking of Saw, I just saw today. It was yesterday. The 11th season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is now on Netflix. And in the first episode, they actually do a Saw bit where Danny DeVito locks everybody in the basement, and they have something sewn into their body, and they have to pull it out with tweezers that are connected to a car battery.
God.
And it's a play on the game Operation.
Oh,
my God.
Cuts aside.
I love that show. It's one of those shows. It's so bad. It's hilarious.
Man, I've never seen it. I got a friend who talks about it a lot, but I do real bad with sitcoms. I don't tune in very often. They don't keep my attention.
It's one of those shows. Like I kind of put it on when I'm doing dishes or something. It's either It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or Trailer Park Boys, and they're so terrible, but they just make me laugh over and over.
Okay, I might have to check it out because Netflix. That's easy to do. So.
But
do something to have some background dialogue going.
I digress. What's going on with Jaws and the Titanic? So we've established that I'm pretty sure at this point that
Shark 100% is from the future.
Jaws from the future, Mecha Jaws from the future, goes back in time to the Titanic. But we have not decided, is Jaws a people evolved Jaws, or is he a fully mechanized Jaws? Is he on the ship or under the ship?
I feel like in the year 3062, he's learned human speech, and he's intelligent enough with his upgrades to at least sneak aboard. And I get the feeling that people in the Titanic aren't the smartest, so I think they'd overlook the fact that he's actually a shark.
Like I'm just right now I'm thinking of the scene where Rose and Leonardo DiCaprio are dancing to the fiddle. Down in the poor person deck, and I just imagine Jaws like dancing the Irish jig or some shit like that.
He's playing the fiddle.
Well, dude, he's been spending his whole life drinking water. He's ready to get down.
Exactly.
Give me some of that Irish whiskey.
So he's with Rose's husband, and or to-be husband, and they're planning the destruction of the Titanic for like.
So wait. Billy Zane wanted the Titanic to sink the whole time?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
My
Phantom
God.
himself.
I mean, I guess, when I look at the fact that he was the demon from Tales from the Crypt Presents Demon Knight it makes sense that he would want to kill a bunch of people and harvest their souls, but it never dawned on me.
What I think
here's a quick way to take down 2,200 people.
Exactly. Maybe there was like maybe there's some kind of secret on the Titanic, and he's like, I have to dispose of the evidence. And Jaws is like, well, maybe he knows that he can't. He has to make sure that it sinks to save the future, to make sure that there's no like.
I've got a whole nother theory now on how Jaws came back from the future. So
and it better have to do with the laser beams.
Demon Master Billy Zane from Tales from the Crypt Presents Demon Knight made a blood pact with the devil to send him the ultimate soldier to destroy the Titanic and harvest the souls of, wrongdoers for his own pleasure. So that is how Jaws ended up. Super mecha humanoid Jaws from the future with a laser beam ended up at the Titanic.
I was going to say, do you think the devil gave him a choice? Like, you could have Jaws or Pinhead. And I'll go ahead and take Jaws on this one.
Maybe what happened was Jaws was manipulated to help sink the Titanic and had like a moral dilemma while on there. Like, sneaking aboard, talking to the people is like, I don't want to sink the Titanic, but realized that he can't change the future and has to have it happen. But the boat's not going in the direction of the iceberg. So he's like, all right, for the good of the future, I have to use my magnetic powers to sink the Titanic. And then eat some of the people that fell out because, he's a shark after all.
I mean, maybe his jump through time has taken its toll on his powers. So he needs to eat people in order to regain his energy and build up enough energy to get back to Super Mecha Humanoid Jaws Jr. So he forces the Titanic into the iceberg to eat people at his leisure in the water to gather enough energy to travel back to the future so that he can raise his son.
And he has to fight Mechagodzilla and Mecha King Ghidorah to save the future, along with Brian Boitano.
Do you think Billy Zane has a Jaws tattoo?
I'd be disappointed if he didn't.
Billy Zane.
I mean, I know there was a zombie movie where Billy Zane got a blowjob. I mean, so
it's a little different.
It's quite possible he can have a Jaws tattoo.
They go hand in hand, if you ask me.
Exactly. You know where I'm coming from with that.
Oh, man. So, you talk about Jaws being on the Titanic. I don't want to have another version of Deep Blue Sea going on. Was LL Cool J on the Titanic by chance?
Maybe. I mean, I have no evidence to say he wasn't on there.
So you're saying that there
Samuel L. Jackson on it too?
And NCIS LA had an active investigation on the Titanic?
I mean, he's definitely on the wrong coast, but he could have been on vacation.
Speaking of NCIS LA, I was on Netflix last night looking through the recently added, more Netflix trivia here. There's a show called CSIC. It's Crime Scene Investigation Center.
Cyber.
And it is the Japanese version of CSI.
Wow.
It is. I watched about 5 minutes. It is horribly hilarious.
Saw a Mexican version of Breaking Bad, but I know there was a Japanese version of CSI.
Of CSI, yes, it exists. It's kind of like Rule 34. If it exists, there's porn of it. If it exists, there's a Japanese version of it.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a Japanese Spider-Man. So.
If it exists, there is a Japanese porn version of it
with tentacles.
Oh god.
Written by Lovecraft.
How do you get an octopus to laugh? Give it 10 tickles.
I gotta have another drink for that one.
So from what I can understand, maybe the people in CSI, they were trying to uncover some kind of murder or something done by Rose's would-be husband. So he's like, well, the only reasonable thing to do is to sink the boat because, that makes sense. So he teamed up with Jaws to try to sink it, and Jaws had his moral dilemma, realizing he had to sink it to save the future. to get back to his mechanical son and to fight Mechagodzilla and King Ghidorah along with Brian Boitano.
I mean, is there any other way that this could go, Dave?
What if Billy Zane was in trouble and Jaws was his bookie? Billy Zane, he couldn't pay up, so Jaws just took down the shark. Or, yeah, that's right. Jaws took down the boat.
Ah, there you go. That's a good twist to that.
It's like, oh, you won't pay me? I'll show you. Crunch. Takes a huge bite out of the Titanic. Disguises it as an iceberg.
Which is,
boom.
I mean, that's a really cool thing because, a lot of times, bookies always say, I'm not going to kill you because if I kill you, you're not going to pay me. So I'm going to hurt the people you love. I'm going to hurt the people around you. And, what did Jaws do? Fucking, he killed 2,000 people around Billy Zane and was like, you get to live because you, motherfucker, you owe me some dosh. And if you don't pay up, more people are going to pay your price.
It's definitely a way to share your message. Like,
I mean, that's definitely intimidating. Like, you
when
owe
the
me.
boat sinks, you will be stranded in balls freezing water.
It is the year 1912. You owe me $300. I'm going to kill 2,000 people to get my point across here. So
I think we came up with those scenarios there. I don't know if there's anything more realistic than that.
I'd like to think Jaws, when the old lady threw her necklace,
the heart of the ocean.
Yeah, whatever, into the ocean, that you see Jaws jump up and eat it. That would have been amazing.
No, jump up and eat her.
She's a little old lady. She can live. She's gonna die tomorrow anyways. It's old meat.
Doesn't she die like 10 minutes after she throws that overboard?
Yeah, she goes to sleep. Well, they don't say how much time will go by, but she dies at some point.
All you know is that her heart will go on.
Maybe she was dead the whole time, and basically everything that happened after that was just like her imagining it while she's freezing to death, and then like you can see she's still in the middle of the ocean on that plank, and Jaws just comes up and like just eats her. Like, wouldn't that have been such a better ending of Titanic?
Kind of reminds me of the ending of The Mist. Just some sort of like, gut punch.
Oh yeah. Which actually the ending of The Mist, he wanted to end it. He actually got Stephen King to approve that ending, I believe, because the movie ends differently than the short story.
And I think it ends perfectly. And I love the movie.
He did not want Stephen King to like. He wanted to make sure that he got the approval. Like, listen, I'm changing this. It's a much different take than what happened, and it was approved, and that's why he filmed it.
Because he did quite a few Stephen King movies, so I imagine he wants to be able to keep doing that.
The only problem I have with Frank Darabont and The Mist is the fact that he took his cast from The Mist and basically made the cast of The Walking Dead from his cast of The Mist, and I do not agree.
Well, that was before The Walking Dead started to suck. So
I did not agree with his casting of that girl as Andrea, and then what they did with Andrea. But that's neither here nor there.
But that was after he left the show. So.
That's something completely different.
Yeah. Well, okay, so he got permission from Stephen King to do that. It's like unlike Stanley Kubrick, who's like, no, fuck you, it's my movie.
Because Stanley Kubrick is perfect. He knows all and tells all and shows all, and you shall not something bad the Kubrick.
Yeah. If you criticize his movie, it means you're wrong.
So Jaws from the future, whether him back by himself or being summoned by Billy Zane, comes to the Titanic, seeks out people, learns about them, does not want to destroy them, but finds out that if he does not destroy them, the whole future is gone. So he aids in the destruction of the Titanic, eats enough people to gather his energy and open a time portal back to his time to where he can raise his son. And there we have it, Jaws 22, the sequel.
And Billy Zane also owed him money, so that was another incentive. Maybe he really needed that money to support his son.
So who knows, friends, what we'll come up with next time. But join us again for another hypothetical movie. And until then, be brave, be alive, be back for more.
I've seen